Supremes of BBC Wiltshire. If you're a woman of a certain age, getting hot flushes may not just be a sign of the changeable weather we've been having, but what if I were to tell you that you could control that uncomfortable symptom of the menopause with the power of your mind rather than a pill? That's what Hellen Breward from Swindon claims she can do. She's a professional and clinical hypnotherapist, and she's been asked to give a talk at a conference in Canada later this year about hypnosis and the menopause. I met Helen early this morning and asked her how she began practicing hypnotherapy.
I'm an ex-primary school teacher. I taught for 13 years and I became very well known with stress, and it got to the point where I needed help to manage that in a better way. So I found a local hypnotherapist. Don't even know why I went to see a hypnotherapist. Don't even know how I thought about it, but I did. And the sessions that I had with her completely changed everything. I actually managed to manage the stress a whole lot better. I actually managed my life better as well. So it had a huge, huge impact on me and a huge knock-on effect, and helped me to change a lot of things that really needed changing that I maybe didn't realise.
How can you just explain briefly, though, how it helped to change your life? Because a lot of people might be listening to this and thinking, well, you know, how can that be? Simply, you know, listening and practicing and maybe, you know, thinking or whatever happens in the session. But how did it change your life?
Because it gave me a different perspective. I saw things differently. It helped to change my thought patterns. Sometimes people can get, when they're stressed especially, can get very negative thought patterns, and you can kind of get stuck in that rut. So it helped me to change those thought patterns, but it also provided me with tools and things that I could do when I felt like that, or if I could feel those first stirrings of anxiety coming on, and knew exactly what to do and how to deal with it. So it helped me to change that way, because I had all those different tools.
You've been practicing for 5 years now.
I have.
What kind of things do people come to you for help with?
A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. At the moment I see a lot of anxiety with clients. Fears, quite a few fears of flying at the moment, because we're coming into that summer season where people have booked flights, booked their holidays to go abroad, and then suddenly realise that, oh, this could be a bit of an issue. So they come and see me, and we help them sort it out.
It's incredible. I never realised that there were that many people who were anxious about flying.
Yeah, it's flying is quite a common one. Dentist is another one. Public speaking is another one. It's one of the top ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Public speaking?
Yeah.
I can relate to that, oddly enough. I know I sit here and I talk to thousands of people every day, but put me in front of people. Yes, absolutely. I should book a session with you. We're not here to talk about that, though. You ended up using hypnotherapy to treat aspects of the menopause.
I did.
Now, bearing in mind what you've just told me, how did you, and the people who come and see you for those kind of reasons, how did you end up doing this?
Well, I ended up having a hysterectomy myself. And of course, when you have something like that, it sort of immediately brings everything menopause related right to the forefront, because it throws you straight into menopause. Unfortunately, it doesn't. You don't skip it, you don't miss it. It just throws you straight there. So it sort of brought it all to the forefront. And lying in a hospital bed and recovering afterwards, you've got plenty of time to sit and think. And I kind of began to think, well, do you know what? You can control pain with hypnosis, and it's very well documented and it's very well used. So why can't you control hot flushes? And I just became really, really curious. So, life got in the way for a while, but back in Christmas 2014, one day I just got up and I sat down and wrote for 3 days solid on what I was going to do, And then I decided to test it, because, I've done it, now let's test it, let's get on and move it.
So you tested it on yourself or someone else?
I had a group of ladies that were struggling, and I tested it on them.
And how did it work in that group? Was it all successful for all of the people?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't successful for all of them. There was one lady that did make improvements, but not what she considered to be improvements, but actually they were improvements all the same. The other ladies found that they were able to turn down the heat, which was all I actually intended to do, was to see if you could turn down the heat of a hot flush, so you could cope with it better during the day because it's very debilitating. And the ladies were coming back and saying that they'd actually managed to get rid of some of them altogether. So they weren't having so many hot flushes, and the ones that they had left, they were able to turn down, and they weren't so hot, so that they could cope much better. And of course, at night time, the sweating at the night time is one of the, because it disturbs your sleep as well. And
of course, if you're hot, you're going to wake up, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, from your perspective, if you're a husband or a partner sleeping with a lady that's sweating and that, it's going to disturb your sleep as well. So they found that they could actually reduce the ones at night as well. And it's not just about using the techniques that I've taught those ladies. It's about tweaking other things, tweaking their lifestyle in very, very small ways, like a hot meal and a hot drink is one of the things that quite often triggers a hot flush. So you just change the hot drink for a cold drink, and 9 times out of 10 that will get rid of that one.
So it might not be the hypnotherapy that's done it. It could be a whole range of things.
It's a combination. It's a combination of the two. And you know what? Hypnotherapy is kind of a holistic thing. We don't just look at teaching you specific strategies. It's what else is going on in your life? What else are you eating properly? Are you drinking enough? Those kinds of things come into everything that we do. And
you're off to Canada in October, aren't you? To talk about this.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, it's fantastic, but then there's the other bit that goes, woo, it's a bit scary.
So this is one of those things where you need some hypnotherapy maybe for public speaking.
Maybe.
This is for a conference, yeah?
Yes, it's for a big conference with other hypnotherapists. I was invited back in January to come and talk at this conference because it's a new topic. They've never had anybody talk about it before. In the hypnotherapy world, it's one of those things that's not a couple of people do it, but not very many. It's not sort of one of the mainstream procedures that people have with hypnotherapy. So it is a new area that's being pushed out, really.
And apprehensive about it?
A little bit. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. There's always that little bit of apprehension when you do something that you've never done before.
Sure.
But I feel more excited about it than anything else, I think. You know, when I sit and think about it, I do get really excited, and it kind of feels like it's off in the distance at the moment. And, you know, the closer and closer I get, I think, oh, it's getting a bit closer. But it is still very exciting.
Helen, we wish you well with it, and many thanks for coming on the radio this morning to talk about it.
Many thanks for having me.
Hypnotherapist Hellen Breward from Swindon talking to me earlier on, and she'll be off to that a conference in Canada later on in the year. And it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we know that for many women, as I say, of a certain age, not pleasant symptoms. It's 9:22 now.